Hello everyone, this is Razia Boston from Boston Desi Connection, and in our Rubaru's next episode, delighted to welcome Mr. Anand Rao from New York. Anand Rao is a bilingual writer, actor, director, and along with a part-time management consultant, right, Darren?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So welcome at BDC, Anand.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me, Razia.
Perfect. So I was reading about you on your web.
hmm
Tell me tell me about your journey from Bangalore to New York. How was it?
Well, the journey by itself was quite uneventful, but
Of course.
yeah. Yeah, I was born and raised in Bangalore, and I went to school there and got my undergrad and graduate degree there, and then worked there for many years. First in advertising, I was an advertising copywriter, and then I was a journalist,
Okay.
focused on technology and business journalism. And I was also actively involved in theatre. In Bangalore, I was involved in both Kannada and English theatre. And I ended up acting in some Kannada TV serials.
Yeah, I read that on your web. Yep.
Which really was a fun gig for me. I got to act in close to 200 episodes with
Wow.
some very popular uh, uh, storytellers from Karnataka.
Oh, okay.
Some of whom were, I think one of them went on to win a national award. It was T.M.
Oh,
Sitaram.
wow.
It was a national award.
Manvantra kind of.
Manvantara, yeah,
Yeah.
Manvantara was the
Right.
most popular TV series. I was acting as a bad boy. I was in a negative role.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was.
So you started your career on stage like Shah Rukh Khan with negative roles?
I don't know about that, but I started on stage. In fact, playing mostly positive roles on stage. In fact, that was the only TV show where I got to play a negative role. Otherwise, I was a police officer in one, and I was a funny friend in another, a lawyer in the third. In total, I acted in about six TV series, but
Wow,
Manvantara became very popular because it was one of the most popular
popular.
TV
Okay.
series at that time.
Wonderful. So, I mean, you said you were a business journalist and
Mm-hmm.
management and theater. These are two different things. So, how you manage or how you involve from journalism to management journalism and to the theater? Is
Well,
there any accident or what was the story behind?
yeah, there is definitely some kind of pattern there. It's for me to tell, and it's for you to make out the pattern.
Yeah.
Uh, I back then when I started doing theater, when I was very active in theater in India, and I was studying English literature in college, and the only thing I could think of doing was something that was closely connected with theater. And so looking at what my peers, people I was looking up to at that time, it was Alik Padamsi, Gerard Dacuna, people like that, and they were all doing advertising. They were all big in advertising, and so I thought it was a natural progression to move from theater to advertising, and that's what I did. I became a copywriter, and after many years as a copywriter, I thought I would make a better journalist because I was beginning to wear out on advertising, and I also had a degree in journalism at that point. So I wanted to try that out when a new media group started. I got that job and I got in. It was a very interesting gig. I was allowed to write about the lifestyle aspect behind technology and business. Though I wrote about business and technology, I did not really write about the hardcore, the money or the revenues or the quantitative component of business. I wrote about the people behind business. So telling the stories about business was my thing, and it was good. I really enjoyed that. But when the media was hit by recession, a lot of journalists lost their jobs. That's when I made the move. I moved to the client side. I became a PR and communications manager for a large telecom company, and that's what opened doors for management for me. So when I moved to the US, I went back to business school, got an MBA
Yeah.
from the Westminster College in Salt Lake City, Utah, and that led to a career in consulting. Yeah, I became a management consultant because that's something I always wanted to do. See how I would fit into being a management consultant. Even as a management consultant, my focus was more on communications and organizational development from a people-focused
Perfect.
where
Perfect.
organizational culture and change management and those areas.
Perfect. So when you came New York?
New York, I came about 3.5, 4 years ago,
Oh, it's
but
not a long time, and
but
you
I
did
was
a
in
lot.
Salt Lake City, Utah for many years,
Oh, okay, okay.
and then I was in Chicago, outskirts of Chicago for about a year.
So I think you also performed in Utah University Theater or something like that. I heard,
Yeah,
I
I
read your on
yes,
your web. Yeah.
the Children's Theater of Utah.
Ah,
Yeah,
yeah,
the
of course.
Children's Theater. I did a lot of uh, plays and theatrical productions with the Indian community there while I was there. But two things that really stand out that was outside of the Indian community, and that was, Salt Lake City is not as big as New York
Yeah,
when it comes to
yeah,
theater, right?
yeah.
But still, it had its own vibrant theater culture. The Utah Children's Theater was pretty big there. And I played Sher Khan in their
Oh,
2008 production of Jungle Book,
Jungle Book. Okay.
the Jungle Book. So that was a very interesting
Yeah, of
gig.
course,
And
of
then
course.
there was a company called the Main Street Broadway Company,
Oh,
which
okay.
actually produced the spoof of all Broadway plays. So there was a Pirates of Penzance, the spoof of which I played one of the pirates, which was fun because I can't
Yeah.
sing.
I
And
love, I also enjoy working with kids. It is always pure fun and joy with work with the kids. It's
right,
always, yeah.
right.
So my next question is this: you are ready to stage your next show in New York, which is based on Muslim couples. Would you like to tell me about more? What is this and what story behind? And you are the writer and director or actor in it,
Um,
right?
no, I am the writer and I produced
Oh,
it.
okay, okay,
I so far I worked with different directors.
okay.
Uh, yeah, there may be a day when I would direct it myself, but right now I'm working with other directors. Um, yeah, Muslim in the Midst is the play, and Muslim in the Midst is a story that was going around in my head for a long time. Way back in many years ago, while in Bangalore, India, I was sitting in my car waiting for my wife to come.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you the second question.
Mhm.
How did this idea came in your mind to write about or say about or play about the Muslim couple?
Yeah, that's what I was getting to. This Muslim in the Midst was a little bit of an inspiration and mostly imagination. So when I once I gave a ride to a Muslim couple in Bangalore. I was waiting in my car for my wife to come out from her work. It was late in the night, and I saw this Muslim family on the sidewalk. They're trying to find a ride, and they were not getting any. And so I don't know why. I just asked them instinctively. I asked them where they want to go, and then I found out that they were going in the same direction where I was, and so I asked them to hop in my car, and so that was the inspiration. But the inspiration ended there, and everything beyond that was imagination. I dropped them off wherever they wanted to go, and then. But then that thing was playing in my head for a long time as to that story could have gone in so many different directions, right? And there were these thoughts in all our minds, all the people in the car. We had these thoughts running in our minds as to what could it be because they were absolute strangers. Anytime you give a ride to somebody you
Yeah,
don't know, there are those questions that are in your mind.
yeah.
But here is a family that's completely different from me uh, but still it was an interesting experience, and so I thought I should tell a story about it, and it took many years in the making, that story. And once I wrote it as a short story first, and after reading it a few times I realized that it could make a great play.
Requested to immediately report any unattended bags your neighborhood and immediately report any suspicious activity. Again, the police department requests public to report any unattended bags or abandoned vehicles. This was an emergency alert.
Who would have imagined that some mullah in Afghanistan would bring the Twin Towers down and attack the Pentagon? The Pentagon, Raj, can you imagine?
I know. I don't know all that, sister. I only know that when Muslims fight with other Muslims, it's best to leave them alone. They will sort things out by themselves. In my village once, there was a fight between two Muslims. The Hindu neighbor joined one of the Muslims and they both beat up the other Muslim. The next day, the village politicians gave the story a new twist, called it a Hindu-Muslim fight. It led to a very bad riot. Many homes were burned down, so many were hurt. I saw with my own eyes that day how a small misunderstanding led to a whole village burning down. Not good, sir.
That's horrible. Imagine stretching his story to make it into a fight between two countries. The result would probably be the same. Why can't we look at it as two people having a problem with each other? Should everything be tied to a religion? What about human rights?
Which humans, right, sister? Everyone thinks they know what is best for themselves and their families. No one likes to be told how to run their home.
But family or country or company, you cannot run it based on some medieval belief. I mean, how will you...
No. Why? Does your husband beat you?
My husband? Maybe in his...
Grace, I hope...
Wow, wonderful, wonderful. So it's based on a real story.
It's
You have
not.
to,
Yeah, maybe 5% of the story is real.
yeah, yeah, of course. I mean, in this political situation, what will you think about the playing, a role, Muslim character on stage in New York?
Playing a Muslim character on stage would be fun. It would be a very interesting challenge for any actor. Yeah, it's not just a Muslim character. Playing any character, if it's well fleshed out, it would be fun. But yeah, the topic of Muslims, or especially a fear of Muslims, or Islamophobia that we call, that's become a buzzword now. I think that is something which I thought is a story that has to be told, because I grew up among Muslims, right? I had so many good friends, and I have, yeah, of all the Muslim friends I had, if I look back, and there are only good things I can talk about them. But the fact of the matter is, Razia, in today's world, Islamophobia and Islamic terrorism, they both are realities in today's
Yeah,
world. Unfortunately,
yeah, yeah, of course.
they're not going away anytime soon,
Yeah,
because there are big political machineries and industries supporting both.
yeah,
And there are businesses that thrive by propagating
yeah,
either or both sometimes. So I think art per se, not just theater, art has a responsibility toward creating a fearless society where we talk about how a society based on inclusion and acceptance has a better chance of success and progress than a society built on discrimination and fear.
yeah, wonderful. Tell me, what is your next project?
Yeah, I'm of course working on taking Muslim in the Midst forward, and I have a few upcoming meetings, and a lot of groups have shown interest in wanting to take this forward. And I'm in the process of looking for producers and the different theaters who would like to stage this. Yeah, like you said, we are afraid of things that we don't understand completely. Like fear comes from mainly ignorance, because especially when it's fear of a certain group of people,
Yeah,
it's mainly ignorance, because you're not scared of your friends,
right.
you're not scared of your neighbors until you have a very strong reason.
Yeah, of course.
But once you reach out to people, have a dialogue, and understand, empathy. I think that's the key word here. You need to be empathetic towards other human beings, which is possible only through interaction. If you continue segregation, if you continue separation and building walls around each other, it's going to be harder to know the view of life or their worldview and empathize with it, because deep inside, a majority of us want the same things.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Would you like to go in different cities or different states to stage your show? I'm Muslim.
A Muslim in the midst,
In the
yeah,
midst.
absolutely, absolutely. In fact, I'm thinking of taking it to India, taking it to Bangalore, and
Of course, that's your city. Yeah.
yeah, I have a few people there who are interested in taking it there. So that's something which I am working on, and I'm also working on translation into Kannada
Oh, okay.
and maybe even Hindi. But right now, my focus is on the script. The script is still getting fine tuned a little. You know, with every show, there is some work that keeps happening on the script, which I think will go on
Yeah,
as
yeah,
long
of
as
course, of course.
I grow tired of it and say, okay, I'm done here. Uh, but yes, it is time that we want to take it out. Yeah, unfortunately, I am an outsider to the New York theater circle, and
Yeah.
I came in late by many standards. So it's now trying to find the right people who would get it, and putting the script in front of the right kind of people.
Right, right.
And the script by itself is very unique. The structure of the script does not follow your conventional narrative structure that typically American plays follow. And so it is quite interesting.
Wonderful. So, as you said, you are looking for the, producers and directors or actors, so you can find so many.
I
Your
want to
theater
make it.
one.
I want to make it profitable.
Okay, yeah,
Because
because if we know about all these things, then we will reach the right people, you know. Tell me about your next projects, and is it only based on the real stories, or just you are making or create fiction?
yeah, fiction definitely it is. Even Muslim in the Midst is mostly fiction. Um I am working right now on a modern version of an ancient classic from India, which we are not talking about yet. Soon we'll go public with it. I am working on the script, and it's going to be a musical. And we are in the process of putting a good team together, and tentatively we want to have a first reading or a presentation of it in fall this year. That's what I'm working on now. And a Muslim in the Midst also is a good subject for a film,
Oh,
because the
wonderful.
script is made in such a way that a large part of the play is based in a car, takes place in a car. So a lot of people have suggested that this could be a good film,
Perfect.
which I am not averse to. In fact, I am working on a screenplay in parallel with it. So yeah, there are some interesting projects coming up,
Correct.
and Boston is definitely one of the markets I'm closely
Looking
examining.
for. Perfect. So tell me about something. How, as you said, you are in New York
Hmm.
since 4 5 years.
Or four.
4 years, and in the short time, in short period, you already produced one drama or one play.
Mhm.
Tell me about what kind of challenges you face there.
Oh, that's a good question. There's a lot of challenges. In fact, producing a play in New York is a very big challenge, which I don't think many people who are far away from New York will understand. One is New York is very expensive.
Yeah.
If you have to book rehearsal space, it's very
Yeah.
expensive. It's not like a small city where you
Right.
can find rehearsal space in a school or a church or somebody's home, or in New York City, everyone lives in small apartments. At
Yeah.
least most people I know, and they don't really would like to invite a large group for rehearsals in their apartment. And so your challenge begins in where to meet for the first reading, for the first
Right.
rehearsal.
Yeah.
Then everything begins in a crowded coffee shop.
Yeah.
And see, in all the places I've lived, be it
Yeah.
Bangalore or Salt Lake City or Chicago,
Yeah.
we always had the luxury of space. Whenever
Right.
we wanted to go, it would always be somebody's basement, or we could meet in somebody's school, or even booking a hall would not be so expensive if we had to. But in New York, your challenge begins there. And then you have actors. You have all the talent you need in New York. All the professional actors, all the top talent is available. But uh, getting dates, getting them to work with you or within your budget, that would be quite a challenge. Getting good actors, yes, like you said, there are a lot of actors you can find, but getting good actors is a challenge because they are busy and they make a living out of acting, and so they will always look for the next best project, and so you're always on tenterhooks where when they're going to drop out of yours. Another challenge is after you put everything together, getting the required attention, because it's not like a small town where there's dearth for theater. In New York, there's so much of theater happening. There are hundreds of shows being
Yeah.
produced every day, and all of them are good, and some of them are excellent. And if you go slightly higher up to Broadway or off Broadway and willing to shell out some cash, you can get to see some of the best theater in the world. So filling up your theater would be a very big challenge. So you need to be on the top of your game. You need to have a good script. You need to have great production quality. You need to get the best people there is, and you need to. And after you do it, yeah, repeatedly filling up your shows would be quite a challenge. So then there's the marketing. So how you work your marketing, how you brand the project, all that counts. So that's what makes the big challenge in New York. And yeah, and for an outsider, it appears that you come up with a good project, and there are so many theater companies here that will pick it up. But no, it won't happen that way, because they all would like to work with the people they know, they have worked with in the past, and so
That's the biggest challenge, I think.
it is. Yes, it is a closed industry, and there are not too many people practicing it. Now, if you look at the size of the New York theater industry, I think the closed circle that's producing the top production, when I say top, the most revenue-making productions, probably is within a circle of about 1,000 or 1,500 people, and my estimate is very generous there. And so it's literally trying to break into that league. And yeah, it's and on if your product doesn't do well, it's not because you don't have a good product, but because there are a lot of other factors
Of
here.
course. So when you face all these things and trying to compile all the parts to stage that play, uh, do you think let me go and do it in Hindi or Kannada? So maybe we will get the desi in it and get some, generate some revenue for that. It's
See,
just a question.
I have done a lot of Kannada theatre
Yeah.
with the Kannada community here, and they have been very kind to me. But I don't know if you can really generate that kind of a revenue doing Kannada theatre. I wish there was an ecosystem like that. I wish there was that kind of a support system where you had financial backers who would let you do it. There have been very popular plays. And don't get me wrong, there are a lot of very talented people in all the regional languages, be it Kannada, Marathi, Bengali, Punjabi, Tamil, all of them. There are some very good talented people, but unfortunately, we haven't yet figured out a way how to make um, a theater a livable lifestyle, right? So you have people doing day jobs, yeah, in the
Yeah, if you
IT
made it
theater.
in a regional language, it will be, the audience will be very
Limited.
limited, and you cannot get that exposure as much as you want. So
Yeah,
English is the safest way to go with the play.
because if I did Kannada, then Even my
Only
Bengali friends
Kannada,
will
yeah.
not come and watch it.
Yeah.
And
Of course, of course.
to my Kannada friends. So yeah, that's one more thing. When I did Muslim in the Midst, all my friends from all over India came to watch it, as in people
Of
from
course.
different parts.
Of
So
course.
this is a common binding factor.
Yeah, I mean, friends, family, and friends is always with you. So tell me about your. You are the producer or director too. Is this program? Is
No,
this the play?
I wrote the script and I produced it. But right now, my the director is Kim Sharp.
Okay, tell me about them. Who is he and where
Kim
is he?
Sharp. Kim Sharp was recently retired after
Oh,
being the associate artistic director of Abingdon Theatre Company, which is one of the oldest and established theatre companies in New York. And he directed it for me. And then I have some good actors playing the lead roles. In fact, I have two actors for each one of my roles, and my Muslim in the Midst is Hanif Pasha. That's a character played by Gopal Diwan and Anshuman Sharma. There are two actors playing that. And Priya is the another character that's a lead character that's played by Nikita Tiwani and Dipti Mehta. Two of them very fine actresses. And Sriram Kaneganti is another actor who plays the lead role of Raj. He's a student in NYU who is really a very talented young actor. And there's Diksha Ketkar, who's a Marathi stage actress who's a student in Lee Strasberg. She plays Shabana, the Muslim wife. So I have a very good
so
cast,
good cast.
and I also have rickshaw drivers on stage and some very interesting actors. There's one George Torres and Martin Calville. Though they are small roles, they're quite significant roles. They both really manage that well. And my wife Swati, she did the costumes for our showing, and which has really come out really well. You should. I would be happy to show them off.
Yeah, of
Uh,
course. So these all actors and cast and crew are based on New York.
Yes, they're all based in New York, and they all went through a rigorous screening process. I had to audition. I auditioned each and every one of them, including the director. In fact, the director I had to shortlist from a lot of people, and like I said, I auditioned quite a few people before finalizing on the ones that I have. But that's an ongoing process
Yeah.
because these actors are busy as well. Now, if I have a show coming up in August, and if one of them is not there, I'll have to start looking for a replacement.
So I'm happy that you got all these wonderful actors, and I saw there's then them in teaser too.
Yeah.
So congratulations, you have a great cast and crew with you. Would you like to say you already have three show or you stage since September? Tell me about what the audience response.
Yeah, in September we were selected by the Thespis Theatre Festival, and so we got to perform there at the Hudson Guild Theatre, which is a 100-seat theatre in New York City. And we were thankful. We had oversold shows, and audience really loved it. And one of the very interesting feedbacks that I got was that it's a very relevant play universally. That's what people said. And I was really surprised that a lot of people liked it, but most of them for various reasons. I could not really draw one common thread, except that it was riveting, it was absorbing, and it was engrossing. Other than that, we had people who thought that it could be uh, pro-Islamic at the time or anti-Islamic, right? And I think I succeeded in walking that tightrope of neutrality here. People were really asking themselves, what is it that I want to know about this? Which is fine because the play is structured in such a way that at the end of it, what you truly believe in your heart, you believe that to be the message you get from the story.
Yeah.
And I had theater critics, I had actors and writers themselves, many of them quite accomplished, watch and give me feedback which was quite interesting. In fact, one of the reviewers told me that there was a strange sense of a realization of one's own biases when you see the play. As in, you start identifying yourself with the characters and say, oh yeah, yeah,
Yes.
that's how I believed it as well.
Yeah.
So that left, and if you look at my website, I have listed some of the feedback that I received from audience, and it's quite interesting, and that I should say flattering as well at times.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So I'm so happy that you received a wonderful experience, because once you announced, since I'm a Muslim in a midst, so once you say Muslim, there is so many things coming up
Oh,
in the mind of audience.
I have an interesting story to share.
Yes, sure.
When I had a reading in March, on March 8th last year, we had a reading, and then we got written about in Huffington Post and Times of India. Published an interview with me, and I started getting a lot of emails from many of my. I don't even know these guys. They are strangers. Maybe they're common friends, or and mostly Indians. They started writing and saying that I am an embarrassment. And the reason was that I had written a play called A Muslim in the Midst. And they had not read the script, they have not watched the play, but they somehow assumed that I am either taking a stance pro-Islamic or taking a stance anti-Islamic.
Yep.
And the people called me a member of the secular media. At the same time, they called me somebody who is fostering Islamophobia. And somehow people assume the worst when you just put a name of a religion in the title.
Yeah.
I started getting forwards about why I should not be doing this, and why I have to read X and Y and Z, and why I'm not qualified to be working on topics like these. And all I had to tell them was, look, I am not an expert in any of the subjects that I'm talking about, and I'm not out to create a treatise on the subject. This is a story I'm saying, and it is a work of art. You can take it at whatever you want to take it, and leave it wherever you want to leave it. Right? It's open for debate. So that was an interesting part. So we tend to uh, just jump into conclusions and beliefs and form our opinions without really much to go by.
Yeah, I mean, assumptions is another irony of our life. But let to be honest, I will tell you my how I will hooked with this the word Muslim. Oh, Muslim in the midst. Let me read what is it, what is all about. So being a Muslim, I was hooked because of the word Muslim, and this is our mentality. What do I do? Whenever we saw the things like that, is oh, it is about this or this or that or what?
Yeah, we start
So
making up our
this
own
this
stories.
questioning started in our minds. So
Yeah.
yeah, but
No, definitely the title was designed for that effect. But I'm surprised with how extreme people can start believing.
yeah,
They never guess that something could be unbiased, something could be just a very normative description of something, without taking sides. Right? That's See. I think what we need now is a reality check of what's going on and how we are from a very ordinary point of view. There are things where there are stories told from a point of view of those sitting high up in the ivory tower, or we talk about absolute scums of the earth. When we never tread the middle ground. And let's face it, the world is filled with ordinary people. The world is not filled with elitists, or it's not filled with the scum either. It's The world is filled with ordinary people, and we need to try to understand the perspectives of what's going on in the real world.
yeah, we have to. But unfortunately, there are so many misunderstandings, so many assumptions, so many assuming things. So when and so many people like you, we are trying our best to give the right perspective, right direction to the people who are assuming things. And thank you so much for giving them new thinking and fresh air to think new things or differently. So thank you so much for talking with us, Anand, and we will inshallah continue our talking, and we
Absolutely.
will wishing you all the best for all your next shows and next productions.
Thank you very much, Razia. It's a pleasure talking to you.
Yes, thank you.